tomorrow's marketing landscape, my first thought was those people who have seen a lot of yesterday and today would be the right people whom we can probably take the expertise and the kinds of outlook they have for how we can save each of the brands. That's where our entire focus was. Very fortunate to have three people who have had wonderful experiences and wonderful, I would say, contribution to the ecosystem that they are part of. Each one was being read out for their profiles. They have the kinds of insights that they can give us the right perspective of what we should look forward to. Like Mr. Gaurav or Mr. Satish or Mr. Santosh, in their respective domains is what I would try to understand for probably their respective brands is the first thing which I would probably want to have. I would start with Mr. Gaurav. Mr. Gaurav, Cisco, a brand I need not to have any introduction to any of the people, is now ranked number 12 in the best of the brands in the country, in the world. How would you manage, being the marketing head for the Indian channels, how would you manage to protect this kinds of an intensity of the brand and the kind of offerings with the kind of evolving competitors and the kinds of evolving customer choices is what I would first like to know from your side. Cisco being the Cisco what it is for. What is your outset for that?
I think for any brand, as Meher was also mentioning, a legacy brand which has been into place for quite some time, it's always a challenge whether to preserve your legacy or whether to stay ahead of the times, being relevant at all times. So it's always playing between these dichotomy. And Cisco, it has at a very unique place right now where we are moving from a traditional hardware products and platforms player to a SaaS-based organization. We would like to, and we are already moving towards being one of the software organizations, in the likes of Salesforce, Adobe. I think one of the differentiating factors what has stood out for the brand has been sustainability. Cisco is right now at, I was looking at some of the rankings, at number 1 in terms of sustainability brand, and it has used it as a unique differentiator across the board, where I would like to cite one example. It is, I think, one of the very few brands which gives you a 10-day holiday or leave, which is called as time to give, in which you can apply this and you can actually volunteer with any NGO or any other charity organizations, and supposedly you contribute to some man hours of work which result in $100. Then Cisco will match that amount. It will also donate that amount to that NGO. Plus it's a 10-day paid leave which is given. So which shows that it is encouraging the employees to be the true brand ambassadors of sustainability as well. So this is very unique, which I saw.
Like what Ms. Meher was talking about, the purpose of the organization in this.
Purpose of the organization is very clear in that sense.
Thank you. And one simple thing is like, normally the moment we say brands, the first thing whenever I teach my students or have been teaching for the last 15 years is the first case that comes to is the B2C products, which we can very easily see where the width and the strength of the brands are very visible for the B2C brands, right? For you being a B2B brand and the kinds of, I would say, the kinds of pressure that probably a brand would undergo, like I said in the previous things, what kind of a difference does it make from between a B2C and a B2B?
All right. I think my esteemed panelists will also agree that at the end of the day, whether it's B2B or B2C, on the other side of the table is a human. And humans have their own traits. There is a consumer behavior. There is a way they take buying decisions. Moment you are able to track that, you are able to understand the buying decisions, you are able to understand the business models, you are able to understand the pain points, then I'm sure you are very close to providing the right solution to the customer. So that is what we have been doing. Now, where the boundaries are blurring over here is a lot of brands, and especially Cisco works with a strong partner ecosystem where we do not just follow sell to approach but also sell through approach. So we have 40,000 partners globally. So what we try to position our messaging is how the end consumers will use or benefit from our technology. Then our messaging aligns with like a B2C brand, and it is, you know, easily understandable. It seems more relevant, and many a times inside the boardroom it pushes our case that we get more partners and customers on board. So that has helped us.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Gaurav. Coming to Mrs. Satish, so you have been, as I went through his LinkedIn profile, I could find out the depth of the expertise that he has had in the real estate. If I were to put it very simply, the kinds of listings that he has got and the kinds of honors that he has got for his expertise are fascinating. That prompted me to ask a question. I mean, the moment we say real estate consulting, the kind of people who look forward for that kind of consulting happen to be either me or probably GIBS. I mean, what I mean is someone who is an individual who needs to have the best investment as probably an organization that also will look for the kind of things. And using a simple fundamental, something like what Ms. Meher was also talking of, is the kind of people whom you target. How do you manage these two seemingly diverse segments, talk to them in the same tone, or probably talk to them with the same message, and how do you make sure that both these people are actually having the strength of belief and trust in the kind of brands that you have?
Thank you very much. Very good evening, everyone. I'm glad you touched based about real estate. You know, not everybody know what exactly the real estate we are talking about. We as an organization, the way how we have big consultants like KPMG, PwC, McKinsey. Very similarly, we are also called as international property consultants globally. There's very 4 or 5, right? And we do handle this complete real estate solutions. So fundamentally, first thing what I must say is, this industry is very, very big. In India alone, we are $1.3 billion market. You know, unfortunately, we do not have a qualified professionals to run and manage this kind of a segment, which not everybody are aware, not many institutes are aware. Very few in India, you know, they have started like MIT and IIM 1 or 2 subjects, but otherwise we as an expert, we as an advisors to government, we are promoting, you know, most of the institutes to bring this kind of education, because it's not just about real estate, corporate real estate. What we do is not just about build or manage. We do bring funds. We do manage end-to-end solutions, and we are also a research and knowledge partners. On basis of us, the governments organize many things.
So that I could see when I saw the kinds of relation you have with Coordinate, for example.
Absolutely.
Coordinate was the kind of things that we go through each time.
Absolutely.
And the knowledge which you contribute for them, and that.
Very true. Coordinate Global is the only global organization which brings, formal education in terms of corporate real estate. There is also another organization, RICS, which again are UK based. They all are 160-year-old, 100-plus-year-old. Even our organization is 130-plus-year-old. Very important to bring back to the topic. I echo what Mayor said. Irrespective of whichever segment you are, whichever organization you are, you should have a purpose. Whether it's a local purpose or global purpose. We also have a purpose. We work responsibly in partnership to enhance the values and the employees as well as the environment. And that is what driving our organization also when it comes to how you represent as a brand, our values and behaviors, whether it's individual or whether it's as a team, as a collaboration to succeed, or when you make the difference, how you represent and act. At the same time, as an organization, what is that you plan to do to advise your clients? And we have a very diversified clients. All four of them, Ernst & Young, Citibank, or Cisco, or for that matter, all of them are my clients. You know, we provide, if you want a 50,000 acres of land space, we identify, we do the valuations, we do the advisories, what is needed to do it, the entire infrastructure. We also construct, we also bring down all IBMs and all the MNC organization to India, plus we also manage. So it's end-to-end solutions. How are we going to represent? Purely with core values, and more importantly, we are aligned to the inclusivity of sustainability, what you said. Today we all know globally everywhere. Earlier also there was ESG, you know, governance, but earlier it was not measured. Now it is becoming a more mandatory. So every organization has to be aligned to the global purpose and values, and then bring your innovative offerings to all your clients.
Also, just one thing is that I noticed Bangalore and Mumbai are one of the fastest rising prices in the country. 30% has been the average rise in Bangalore. People are probably becoming richer. And so the reason probably their expectations are also going up. That kind of a thing to be able to match requires a lot of preparations, a lot of drive for you to be able to know that and prepare it well, like what we said. As we go towards tomorrow, probably the scope and the kind of breadth that we need to look for, probably you can just give us the way that you
in
were
fact,
prepared.
I must say, not just Mumbai and Bangalore, globally, you know, the economy, as we all know, it's all moving towards it's moving from West, from Europe, and now it is all in Asia, right? In Asia, very clearly, it is India and China. Yes, there are spillovers are going to Southeast, Asia and the rest of the world, and some parts in Australia. But the beauty of it is, while it is slowing down in US, but let's not forget, but the talent pool, the overall in terms of the growth, the governance, and also the way how India has been promoting its brand everywhere through our current government, I think India is a country, everything is moving in terms of growth, because we are still developing countries. We have lots of volumes in terms of infrastructure, not everything for that matter. As you all know, after HR, real estate is the largest in terms of overall, contribute to the economy, right? Mumbai was always an expensive city, we all know that, right? As we just released our research report, commercial space has slowed down, because post-COVID, there's lots of flexible flex spaces come, as we were discussing prior to this session, but lots of flexibility for organization, 4-day, 5-day, 3-day, but looks like it is going to come back to the original space. The adoption in terms of office space overall today is 600 million square feet, of which undoubtedly now, as you know, Mumbai is all about BFSI segment, like Citibanks and all of that, but southern part of it, there's a volume, all the IT sectors or R&D sectors or semiconductors. It's further, people are going for large spaces, not in Hyderabad. The only difference in Bangalore was because we had little bit of unstable government, as we all know, I don't want to overly say it, the spillover, because of the time taken for all the approvals, all because of that, the spillover all moved into Hyderabad, Chennai, went back to Pune. When Pune overloaded, then went back to Gurgaon. So that is how, but one thing stood was Bangalore. It's purely because of the talent pool what we is available here, and any organization can afford to invest blindly because it's an auto-run city. The only thing is, while there is a consolidation happening in the office spaces, 30%, 25 to 30%, but the quality of the workspace is all increasing because of wellness. The sustainability is playing a major role globally, and that is something every organization is aligned to those global, sustainable-driven organizations. One segment which is doing really well is residential. Even post-COVID, everybody knows that we all have realized how important is our houses, right? Nothing could be better than any other place. You want to be safe in your offices. Technology, digitization, everything is coming out well, and that is what I'm saying, the offerings has really added value. The luxury space in terms of luxury residential has gone up to 25 to 30%.
We strangely have 3.5 bedrooms, 2.5 bedrooms. Once we have this work from home, it's becoming so popular in this.
Very much. I think today our landlords and developers like Prestige and Brigade or RMZs or the funds, the Blackstones and Everstone and all these funds. Now, if you see, they are known as a global partners today. No more what you used to call as, Salapuria, the landlord, they used to call as a landlords or developers. Today, they all match the international standards because they have adopted. They have adopted to what the occupiers need. They adopted to what Ernst & Young wants or Citibank or Cisco. They are upgrading the overall systems, the innovations, the wellness into your...
So too much of competition probably for the kind of people that they have.
See, competition to hai.
So coming back to my fundamental question, what you're giving is a more broader, probably more apprehensive scenario for someone. If I was working for a particular brand in question, how would a brand live up to with this kind of changing environment that we have?
See, as I said, sustainability, how inclusive you are in what you promote, irrespective of whatever innovative solutions and offering you provide, you need to be transparent in your approach. You need to be, knowledgeable in what you speak. Okay, it's not about I'm so and so big. It's all about what you offer, your relationships. How you evolve, from organically, how you grow with them. Those advisory has to be very clear and straightforward to it. As a competition, if you see, it's all about people driven, right? As an individual, what are you? How are you representing your brand? How are you, talking to your clients? How are you gaining the trust? It's all about trust again, right? How you build that trust, by being transparent, by being giving the right advisories to them, the right components of what's happening across. Even if you are not good, if you rather say it is not good, but this is what I would like to advise, only then you will be a differentiator in the market. Competition, every organization is same. We all provide the same organization. But one thing which differentiates is the values, what Mayor did mention.
So coming to Ms. Santosh, taking up from what Ms. Satish has said, you specialize in the mentoring and probably right from creation of the startups to the mentoring of them and then probably taking them to the success path for that. Quite a few times it does happen. Since we are talking about something of the marketing, more of market-oriented than the spirit-oriented, if I can probably excuse me for that kind of a statement, a lot of facades are put up probably to say that I am successful is more important for me than the reason why I have had a startup in my hand. If I can probably call that, is that the focus is more on what we are measured against and how we can win over the others, rather than like what the very word which you talked of, purpose for which I have established. Do you find that there is a deviation in the kind of, just asking for the kind of inputs that I would want from you is, where would the startups focus first and how would they start, or when they would start focusing on the external factors in the futures, and then they can take it up for that?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'll probably start with a caveat or a disclaimer. Since I work with a global bank, so I have this restriction that everything that I express here will be my personal opinion, not the organization's opinion. I have a dual role that I do. As an organization, I look at innovation and investments. That's my role. But on the personal end, I'm a big believer of pay it forward. Right? I've been benefited, also I keep benefiting even today, working with a lot of startup entrepreneurs, and being an entrepreneur myself, I've built a company around influencer marketing and sold it. So I know a bit of MarTech, I would say. I've gone through the challenge of starting with a purpose and deviating as well. So startups are generally, if you look at it, Darwin's theory applies clearly to startups. It's the survival of the fittest, right? Eventually, what matters to every organization is that can you survive and thrive in a VUCA world? How many of you know of VUCA world? Can't hear you. What's VUCA? VUCA? Absolutely right. Brilliant. So the professors have done a great job on getting you guys into the VUCA world, right? So the world is ever evolving, right? It's a dynamic situation that we are in. And for the startups, right, and you might start with a purpose, but your purpose, for any organization, not just startups, the purpose also has to evolve, right? Let's think of the oil marketing companies, right? The earlier focus was to bring in enough oil and energy to the consumers, but today it's not just that, it's green, right? You need to be sustainable. Are you doing enough to keep the world, keep the earth green enough, right? So every oil company today is focusing on that. Even if you look at what Satish was telling about Knight Frank, is that there are LEED certifications, right? So there's gold, platinum standards that people are looking at. Is my building green enough, right? Am I damaging the earth? Am I sustaining in my premises, right? The same thing will apply to the startups as well, right? While you focus on being relevant in your purpose, but you also need to match up to the competition that's out there. And startups have a challenge in surviving because it's not just my purpose, I also need to have enough money to pay my salaries tomorrow. I also need to have a product that the consumer continues to like and buy, right? I also need to bring in investors into my fold. I also need to hire the right kind of talent that I need for my organization. And can I do this? Let's take an example of Zomato, right? Now, or even Amazon for that matter, right? Any of these e-commerce companies today, their challenge is that it's not just delivering a product, it's also delivering in the right kind of packaging. If it is too much, people go into social media and crib about the packaging. If it is too less, the product gets damaged. You need to maintain the right kind of balance there that the product doesn't get damaged, but I'm not using an unrecyclable product or unrecyclable packaging there. At the same time, if my delivery gets delayed, we do crib. If I'm pushing my delivery boys to drive faster, there's a hazard. So I need to keep maintaining that balance, and the only way that I can do is by communicating it in the right manner. A lot of initiatives that people do take in a startup world is that they keep very active social media profiles. They are answering the clients. They are answering the customers' requirements. Even if there's a complaint, there's always they don't hesitate in answering that. Right? They take it head on because they want to really pass on the message that we are listening to you. That's very important in the current world of marketing. Right? You need to listen and also communicate all the initiatives, all the steps that you're taking. It's okay to fall down. The important aspect is that can I raise up with my chin up?
So, I mean, just further thing is probably a final statement. When the moment we start talking of a startup, we are concentrating on, if I can call a baby. A baby versus a giant kind of a thing, a David versus Goliath kind of a fight. It would probably give a kind of a shocker. It would probably give a kind of question of survival for the startups, right? Like the intensity with which you go into talking out to the customers, or probably answering them, or probably being able to tell them is the best part. But in general, what is the kinds of spirit this startups have, entrepreneurs, when they are, how ready are they, as per your observations, to get into the fight, if I can call it, of sustaining their brands? Is it that they learn it by experience or become more prepared to be able to get into the kind of an entrepreneurial business? That's right.
So the primary trait that every founder and every organization has in the startup ecosystem is that you'll find them to be really fearless. Right? Because
that's very good.
Every day is going to be a new day. Every day there's going to be a challenge. And you cannot anticipate every challenge that comes your way. The only way that you can survive and thrive is by being fearless. You don't worry about what can happen to me next. You look at, can I convert that into an opportunity, right? Every debacle is an opportunity for marketing my brand, right? There's nothing called as negative publicity is what we say in the marketing world, right? So make use of it and take the right actions, communicate those right actions, right? So if you look at what happened in the last couple of years with Zomato, Swiggy, there have been a lot of debacles that they've faced. What have they done? They've come back with utmost intensity to correct themselves, and they put it out, right? And they're fearless to put it on social media because you know that there are going to be people who are going to troll them. There are going to be backlash, but you don't get scared of it, right? So what you look at it is, can I still build my brand around these things and show that I'm a very dynamic organization. I'm still trying to build. Now look at Zepto, right? I mean, a 10-minute delivery, right? When that started happening, there's a lot of backlash. People said that do Indians need grocery delivered at 10 minutes, right? The question is it really required to have that kind of convenience vis-a-vis what hazard they're going to put on people in terms of their delivery personnel or in terms of the product marketing that they're going to push through, and also the funding, I mean, the utilization of the funds, right? Typically people crib about, are startups really using the funds in the right way? Are they burning the money? That's the question that we keep looking at. But what startups also do is they create category leaders now, right? So when you are fighting with a larger organization, you're not just worried about building the organization, you're also looking at, can I be the category leader now?
The customer is, maybe customers can be different to build up to me to go to a bigger thing. One question for you, Gaurav, is since we were talking about social media's expressions and all, quite a few people do talk, and I do come across this kind of questions. A lot of people put up a false image on the social media. Okay, one of the HR probably had these kinds of problems. Everything which you put on LinkedIn is everything positive. Everything you put on Instagram is everything positive. And the reality is what they're trying to project is a facade. Probably if Sujit Singh had been there, he would have been the right person probably to have that. But in general, how will you take, if you were to recommend someone for a HR outsourcing kind of a job, how would you evaluate a person to probably offer that kind of an individual to an organization as an employee? Is there any way we can find out the reality about individuals in general? An individual brand, if we can call that. That's how it is. No, you can provide.
Oh, yeah, it's working now. Yep. So it's very interesting, and in the marketing world specifically, what I've seen, we have this exercise called brand building, and then we also have something called leadership branding. If we talk about these two aspects, we believe that there are certain components which go on building a brand, and same holds true for building a personal brand. So I think if I were to see from the lens of a personal brand, I would say it's a good exercise that someone has put out or made efforts to build his or her LinkedIn profile. Now, of course, it depends on the organization evaluating that person's candidature to take due diligence and right steps to measure that person, evaluate that person in complete authenticity before hiring. That's their discretion. But you need to still give it to that person has made efforts. And there's no harm, because ultimately our lives is a sum total of learnings and inspirations we derive from people around. Forget about social media. Even when we write articles, people quote leaders. Even when we publish reports or media bites, yes, we quote leaders.
We have data to support our arguments.
Exactly. Yeah. So LinkedIn just gives us another platform to follow people, tag people, quote people. It's just another platform. However, I think somewhere we should always motivate people that whatever you put out there, ultimately you have to stand out as that person, fearless, confident, purposeful, and ambitious in all the actions you do, because people are observing you directly or implicitly, or explicitly and implicitly. And if you can match that, and I've seen many people who walk the talk, as we say, they're street smart, they walk the talk, then people will, one personality of yours will only increase your followers there. People who follow you there will always want to meet you in real life.
Wow, that's a lot of things to which you have to probably look forward to. You have been a guide for our students also in their CPMPs and kind of thing. That would be a wonderful input for all of us to be able to do this kind of thing. Anything else which you would want to add?
I don't mind adding to Gaurav. See, in my organization, I generally encourage the leaders to be in forefront in the forum. But act responsibly, because see, they carry the tag of the organization. We have to be very careful as to how they represent, what they represent, and what do they share. Because organization can be at stake. Any wrong information, especially we are organization, we publish all research reports, the numbers, the stats. Any wrong representation could backfire. So we generally, what I advise is we form a group, brand champions. We do provide mentorship, or we do advise them what should be your level of posting, how you have to, who are your target audience, and at the same time it's all about marketing, right? Why we do all that, even LinkedIn or wherever it is. Ultimately you also to promote your brand and your services, right?
A personal brand probably is more important for that.
Absolutely, both individual brand as well as the organization. Only when you have credential you can become an individual brand.
Absolutely.
For that, what are those right credential you need to have? If you are into technology, do you have a right qualification which matters to build your individual brand? Very important. If you many of them put their designation, multiple designation next to their names, right, including me. That is called marketing individual. When I speak to Gaurav, I should know that Gaurav is a qualified professional. When he posts something, then he advocates what he does, and he also give a authenticity of the organization is there. So very similarly, very important to have a guidance to the people who wants to. We should encourage. At the same time, when you do such thing, you should have a bigger responsibility with accountability to ensure that the brand is not put at stake. Otherwise, it will backfire you. And again, even marketing, I keep telling my marketing team, right? Because while everybody roll up to me, very important, you can't once and for all become a rocket singer, right? Sales, marketing is not, see the generation has changed. Gone are those days that, marketing, you are a perfect marketer, people blindly go by marketing. Today all are mature enough to understand. You go by, earlier, golf, you go and do your business. Right, whole thing. But today it's different. They are all very sensible. They know whom are they talking to. Are we talking to the right person? Are we talking to the right organization? Are we telling the truth? Are we advising the right thing? Everything goes around and comes back. At the same time, it's very important to have a common goal, purpose with common goal, and to bring that one organization, one culture is very important with irrespective of any segment. But for everything, you need to have passion. It's, a best marketer can be as simple as anybody. As long as you know what you're talking. You heard the Dabawala, no? In Mumbai, Dabawala.
Dabawala, yeah.
He hardly knows English. I'm talking about 24 years back. I heard his speech. One message was very clear to him. Irrespective, all he knew was he knew his product very well. He never shied away. Whatever he wanted, in between he also spoke in Hindi. He said, Satish Saab, as long as I'm communicating what I want to communicate about my brand, doesn't matter which language, which accent I speak. If you're conveying a message to your audience, that's fine. Absolutely, it's true. Now you see, you give a fake accent, they say, yaar, ye to bahut chota hai, let's see who talks. So life has become very practical and very straightforward. But for that, you need to have your self-confidence, self-motivation. At the same time, make an effort, make an attempt, mistakes, no problem, just keep going. And you need to have a right mentor for you to take it to the next level. Thank you.
That's a wonderful statement. As we are actually closing to time, any concluding remarks, statements that each one of you can probably, our students would be expecting a lot of things that they can probably carry it forward. Each of saying, Santosh sir, more for the entrepreneurs that we spoke along about IRE, the goal of what we actually do. For anything on the inputs for entrepreneurship and things would be a wonderful input from you.
Sure. I'll make it a twofold advice. My first advice to you all students are build your brand on LinkedIn. Don't shy away. You have to be marketing yourself. Right? If there's one job that all of us have to invariably do, whether I'm interested in or not, is always selling. I always sell to my spouse, I always sell to my kids, I always sell myself to everyone in the world. You have to keep selling, right? So don't shy away from putting yourself on LinkedIn. So there are 2 or 3 ways that you can do is, one, keep posting relevant content. right? Content is going to be the king. It will continue to be the king. Even with AI taking it over, you might be a prompt engineer, but still it's content that's getting driven out, right? So you have to keep creating good, decent, valuable content for your audience, right? Even if there are no likes today, it doesn't matter, but keep doing that. The second bit is, LinkedIn is a very, very powerful platform, right? Like Satish was mentioning, if you have to get the right kind of mentors, it's not just within these four walls, right? You have to go out and seek mentors. And the best way to seek mentors, I have done it and it works beautifully, is by helping others. And I'm putting a pause so that this drives into you all. Always put out, whenever you meet someone, always ask with a question that, what way can I help you? Right? Even if it's a very senior professional in the industry, it's okay, right? You might do a menial job of some data crunching for him. It is not menial. You might think it is menial, but it is valuable for him. And once you do that, he or she will be a direct access to you. And that senior professional can drive your career with a rocket booster. So the only way that you can achieve that is by asking the first question. What is the question I asked? How can I help you? Right? Is there some way that I can help you, sir? Right? Be fearless. You don't have to be worried about what response comes in. Even if 3 people say no, a 4th one is always there to say yes to you. Right? You've seen it in your personal lives, how many no's and yeses you get. Right, left on Tinder, you must have experienced that. So, but that's the same thing on LinkedIn as well. You might get a few no's, but you always get a yes. All you need is one yes that can change your career, right? So that's a brief advice I want to give you on using LinkedIn as a platform for your own personal marketing. Build your mentors out there. The other thing about entrepreneurship, right? You are sitting, I mean, you guys are really, really lucky, right? When I started entrepreneurship, thought process for me, it was in 2008-9, and it took me 4 years to convince myself, my family, that I can step out from my corporate job, a cushy job, and do something on my own, right? But you guys are lucky because you are in the country which is growing at breakneck speed, right? The world is looking at you, and the policies are being created where funding is becoming much more easier, right? You have the market that is ready to look at a new brand, right? Can you think of 10 years back, 20 years back, could someone challenge a HUL? Could someone challenge a PNG? Very, very difficult, right? But today, a small brand with no funding can still sell a D2C product to you, right? As shoes are being sold, you don't just look at Nike, right? You look at newer brands, flatheads, right? There are enough and more platforms. It could be a Shark Tank, it could be 25 other TV shows that are coming out where you can go and build your own brand out there, right? So don't just look at your career as a corporate job. Entrepreneurship is a career, right? Become job creators, not just job seekers, right? Because you could be hiring your friends in the college and build an organization out, right? How many of you want to do entrepreneurship? How many of you are looking at it? Raise of hands, right? So believe me, you guys are really, really lucky. There's government policy that will give you a decent seed fund of 25 lakhs easily today, right? It's not a big amount. But that 25 lakhs can help you set up the organization and start things moving forward, right? And there are consumers who are looking to buy new products, who are looking to experience new products. So it's much, much better to become a job creator today, because some of you mentioned money is the motivator, right? Ask your MD, right? Who's the biggest money spinner here, right? None of us, it's the MD, right? Right, so there's a lot more money that can be made in entrepreneurship than in a corporate job, right? And that is, today it's much more easier to jump into that bandwagon, and you have your professors who can be your mentors. You have a brilliant organization that is bringing in a lot of speakers today. And I've seen your LinkedIn post that you've been doing a lot of these activity over the last few months. I know that your students are lucky to get those kind of connects with the corporate world.
Thanks
Make use of it, not just to find job, but look at how can I become a job creator. Best wishes to you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
I'll keep it simple because he's already told what I had to also tell. But one thing I must, one is compliment, one is, I'll not say advice, my advice, how I have followed it. First compliment is, I didn't know GIBS. I got to know because I accepted a request from one of your students, right? That speaks volumes about how you have connected in the industry, in the LinkedIn forums, and I admire that person who reached out to me with lots of passion. What I want to tell is there are still leaders who will respond to you. Don't give up. Continue to do that. One. And two is, irrespective of whatever trades you wear, whichever hat you wanted to wear, don't forget one thing which will stand you out is your value systems, integrity and value systems. If you have this, and if you have passion and if you have hunger to grow, trust me, sky is the limit. Thank you.
So Santosh and Satish have all virtually covered most of the things. So I'll just keep it something which you might already be aware. But one thing is that these days organizations are moving away from just selling products or services. We are combining them to sell solutions. So world is looking for you to suggest them solutions, and they are very experimental in nature. Having worked in Infosys, I know how many lawyers work there. You might just think that it's predominantly a technology company, engineers work there. We have lawyers, we have people joining the DX team who are NID graduates. We have people joining from journalism. So interdisciplinary and cross disciplines are welcome because they enrich an organization. So people are looking whatever you can bring into the table to provide solutions to the customer. So please believe in your strengths. You definitely have something which you can add value to the organization irrespective of your background, as long as you're passionate about it. And second thing, being marketeers, we all need to be storytellers. Many a times we just get so busy in finishing the PGDM syllabus, doing the assignments, that we forget that storytelling and communication is the key. Otherwise everything is in your mind, but you may still not have that bond with the customer. So that is important. Try to develop these age-old skills, evergreen skills of communication and storytelling will become very handy for you to grow. All the best.
Thanks a lot, Gaurav. Thanks a lot, Mr. Satish. Thanks a lot, Mr. Santosh. It's been a wonderful discussion we had. Quite a few things which I thought out. I did myself find quite a few good answers and solutions for what you think. It's been wonderful to have you all. Thank you all once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone. Mr. Goyal, thank you very much. I think I really enjoyed, generally kya hota hai na, aisa corporate sessions, we go only with IIM, ISB all. But today I felt very nice about, coming to this place and meeting all of you. I think this itself proved that the kind of a brand which you guys have brought into the forums, platforms, I wish you many more, and I'm looking forward, and reach out to me. Real estate is another segment. I myself a faculty, I was telling for corporate real estate, right, globally. So this is a segment, Mr. Goyal, you should think about it. Maybe Coordinate is the right place. I'll ask them to come and give some, voluntary, advice and guest lectures. I'm sure they will do the needful. Thank you. Thank you.